Hello, today I'm going to go over a resource with you that you can utilize with your students who are alternately assessed when you're working on the ELA Essential Element RI 4.4, which is determining the meaning of words in text. And something I want to share with you is called a Quizlet. And this is an online based program. You can have a free version. That is what I'm going to show you today. I'm not doing anything that requires any sort of upgrading, but it's basically a program that you can utilize for science vocabulary. So when you go into your Quizlet, you'll go to the Quizlet home and you'll see any of your sets that you create. You can make folders, you can make classes, but you can just sign in with your Google account. You can go in and create your own account and absolutely utilize the free features, which actually gives you access to quite a few things. You can search different things. So if you were to go in and let's say we were working on science vocabulary, because that tends to be something that's a little challenging sometimes for our students, we can go in and search matter. And I'm going to show you what'll pop up. You'll see a whole bunch of different things that people have created, and you can go in and you can add these different study sets to your class. So for example, let's say we wanted something a little smaller right here. For matter with 27 different vocabulary cards, we can go in here and see something that another teacher has created already, or another person, we don't know necessarily if they're teachers, has already created, right? So you'll see matter and you'll click on this and it'll tell you anything that has mass and occupies space, right? So then you'd go to the next one by clicking this arrow over here, and here we go, we have mass. And you would click on this and it would say the measure of the amount of matter in an object. So these are all flashcards, right? And so the whole point of Quizlet is to kind of have like a vocabulary flashcard, a digital flashcard game. And this is what I really like about Quizlet is everything is automated, so you don't need to practice it with paper. You can actually do it online. So you'll see over here, here are the flashcards, and that's when you go through it. And you can click on that, and what you can do here is you can see click the card to see the term, right? So you click the card and it'll flip it over for you on your computer and it says matter. So you click it and it'll see definition. Now something else you can do is you can click right up here and it'll read it for you, right?
Matter.
Now you can hit shuffle and it'll go through all the different cards. You'll see there's a total of 27. It tracks your progress as you go through it. And you can just click on this arrow and it'll keep going through, and you can see the smallest part of an atom orbits the nucleus. What is that? An electron, right? Now you can also hit play. If you hit play, it'll go through on its own for you. So it'll just keep flowing through so that your students would have the opportunity to see what it is, right? And there you go. How do you find the number of neutrons? Again, a little high end, but you can see the interaction that holds atoms together, chemical bond. Now down here, there are some different options. You can turn that audio on or off. When you have it off, you still have the option to hit the little speaker up here, right? That will read it for you. And if you go into options and turn the audio on, it'll read everything to you, right? So that's how you play the flashcards, which is really awesome to practice vocabulary with your students. Another thing you can do, they have these different types of games and you can play different things with the vocabulary cards that you create. So if you go to match, which is a game, it is going to show you a bunch of different the different words with the different definitions there, right? So you would then be pulling all of these different words to match the definition and then they disappear, right? So then if you had solid, you would bring it up here and it disappears. So you keep going through and it times you, right? So you can go through the whole thing and see what works. So the measure of amount, right? Go over here. And so you can go through and for example, let's check this one out. It gave us an extra number down or an extra word down here. So let's go through the neutral part, right? I'm going to go up here. And so you'll see it disappears every time you get it correct, right? So that's a really fun game that your students can play when you have your flashcards ready. And again, you don't need 27 that's like here. This is just one that was already created. And it has where you can practice writing out your vocabulary words. So this will bring you to this screen where it tells you the definition, change from liquid to a solid, right? And then you would type in whatever it is, right? So that's the word, the answer was freezing. So now you can go in and you can type that in and then you would get it, right? So then you move along, right? So this one was solid and then you click that and we'd move along, right? So you have how many you get right, how many you have left. So that's another way that they could practice. And you can create classes in your Quizlet account, even your free account, and you can assign these to different students, right? So let me show you exactly where that would be. Right down here, you see this little plus button right here. That's how you would assign it to your class, right? So if you find this, say this fit the needs of your students, I know this is pretty high level, but I'm just gonna show you an example of one of them. You would go right here and you can add the set to your class. So you'd go right here, you add it to a class, you'd have your classes set up, and then I only have one class, so it went directly into my one class, right? So you can have all that. It's really awesome. It prints out your scores, right? You can embed this if you wanted to into Google Classroom, right? You can have the link for it. So it's pretty cool. I really like going through and seeing what other people have created, right? You can do that. This game is called Gravity. You have to find the answer before they hit they hit down. So I'll show you that real quick. So you see, you want to protect the planets from the asteroids, and the asteroids, so you can do it, you can set it, right? How hard, how easy, if you want to answer with the definition or if you want the term, right? So then this way they would just give you the definition. Let's put it on easy, and then let's say. So you watch out for those red asteroids. So positively charged atom, and then you try to type it in right before it drops down, right? So really fun games, something that you can use as an enrichment type activity, or maybe as a pre-activity with your students when you want them to start learning a vocabulary and you're starting a new unit and you have a bunch of new vocabulary words, and you could present them in this flashcard presentation where you can do different things where they can study by going through the flashcards. They can go through and learn about them, right? When we had that, and then you can go through, you can have them spell it. Show you what that looks like. So this one's pretty cool because you can click on here and it says type what you hear.
Freezing.
So now you would go in and it tells you to type freezing. They could practice typing. So just some different things, a ton of different activities that are based on a whole bunch of different vocabulary. And again, you can create whatever it is you want. So here was something that someone else already created. You can even modify and edit that, right? So you can go in, you can modify, and I'm going to show you one that I just created that was very simple, right? So here's plant if we were working on science. And then I had a picture of a plant, right? So I'm going to show you how this looks when you want to go in and create your own vocabulary set. So you'd go in here and you would just hit edit, or you would hit create, and you would go to a study set, which is what it's called. So this is the screen it would bring you to, and I just had science vocabulary. You can put the topic that you're learning, right? And then here are my words and my definition. So here's where you can modify for your students and differentiate to make sure that they fit the needs of whatever it is your students are learning about, right? So we have plant, leaf, roots, and if we add a card, you can make as many cards as you want, right? So we have plant, so let's put in soil, right? So we're gonna put in soil, and it comes up with some definitions that are already down here that you can just click on, right? So here we go. We could pick this, right, if we wanted to pick it, or if you just wanted to say the Earth's surface, you can just delete all that or just type it in yourself, right? It doesn't have to be the definition that they give you, but I love that they pre-populate the definitions. And then you can add an image, right? So here, there's all these images that you can have, and we could pick that image, and then we could click done. And once again, when you create your vocabulary set based on what your students are learning, you can go through and you can play the flashcards, right? Where they go through and they could practice. Here we go with our leaf, then what it is. When we have our learn activity, they can go in and your students can practice learning all the vocabulary cards, right? So here, Earth's surface, what is it? Leaf, soil, roots, or plant, right? So you would click on that and it tells you right away, immediate, you got it correct. This one you can type in the answer, right? So a ton of different activities to practice, to go through vocabulary.
The major sites of photosynthesis in most plants.
So it reads for you. So you can click on don't know when you don't know. So That'll tell you then to study this one, right? So leaf, right? All these different things. So we can go back to the flashcards. It'll bring us back to where we were learning. And I just think it's a really fun activity for your students, a different way to practice, learning vocabulary and a digital way to do that. Some different fun activities that are all free and accessible for you. So I hope you give Quizlet a try and that you enjoy it in the classroom and your students like it.